I'm going to show you how to use the anti-backfit within Hedger Pro to create profitable betting systems that have been back tested and not overly backfitted. So here we have a system from my system list, and I've got the anti-backfit set at 3 months. This is the profit and loss over approximately 52-ish months. Here's the full amount of points for that period, and over the past 3 months, because my anti-backfit is set at 3 months, I can see my figures at 71 points profit, 24 points drawdown, strike rate, number of races bets, average over expected, yield, liability, everything, commission, all of it is there for me over the past 3 months. And you can see that area is highlighted here as well. Now from here to here, this is the filter process. This is the selection method that I have down here with all the filters I have in place. And from this point on, from March over the past few months, this is live betting. But what it does, the anti-backfit, because the filters are tuned for this period, it's basically saying in a nutshell that from here, this is what would have happened if I'd have started my betting from this point using these filters. And that is incredibly useful because it allows you to create a betting system and validate it to say, okay, so if I had started this 3 months ago in this example, or say 12 months ago, if I research it for 12 months, if I'd have started it 12 months ago, this is how I'd have done. I'd have made 188 points, 48 point drawdown, and all the other stats in between. And then these filters and information down here with the metrics, because that hasn't suddenly gone out of whack, that kind of validates that this is a genuine system. It's actually got potential. If I put it back to 3 months, which is the region I work with, you can see that the filters here now are in place for showing me that the data from here to here up to 3 months ago has been filtered using this information. If I had started a few months ago, this is the profit, drawdown, etc. that I would have made. So that's quite simple. That is useful. It's a unique tool within Hedger Pro that isn't available within other software to allow you to test this and test your systems effectively, so you're not overly backfitting them, or you're not having to start them and then watch them drop off a cliff because you're using data from point A to B up to the present day. Actually allows you to set that data back and give you a starting point, in this example 3 months ago, and see how you would have done if you'd started 3 months ago, which is great. Now on all of my systems I have the anti-backfit over here set at 3 months, and I'll show you the reason why. Very simply, if I come over to portfolio, I've got systems in place here. Now if I was to change one of these, this all changes dynamically. So if I was to put that on 0, for example, you can see that the numbers change. If I was to put this on 10 or 4, for example here, 10, 4, change the stakes, everything changes. But I want everything set at 1 point stake, at £1 stake, because it is a financial figure the way it works it out. And now all my systems that I want running have all got £1 stake on them. I've got a few excluded, and these are the systems. If I was to change this to 0, they all disappear. If I was to put that back on £1 and then delete the systems that I don't want to have in operation, you can see it all changes dynamically. And these figures at the top here, these represent the totals. So the black line is everything running concurrently, the blue line is back in, the red line is laying, and you can see the individual figures for laying at the top. They're the overall performance for all the systems that I've got in operation. They're the overall performance for the backing system, and this is how they all look concurrently, as I said, with the black line over that period of time. The figures underneath are the anti-backfit figures. Now this is where people can get confused, and I'll try and keep it as simple as possible without confusing it any further. This is for pure clarity. The anti-backfit here is very useful, these figures to have, because it will show you exactly the totals for the combined figures and for the individual backing and lay-in figures for whatever period you want to set. Now with me, I have it set, as explained, all my systems on 3 months. So these figures here, from profit and loss up to your average odds, show figures for all the systems I've got selected over here with the 1 in them and the slider turned on. The slider turned on doesn't affect the way it works. The slider turned on is just to say yes, I want to update it and for it to place bets. So now that bot is active, but I'll come back to that in another video. The point I'm making is anything with a 1 in the stake box over here has populated this graph here and populated these figures here at the top to give me my totals all the way along, and the max DD on the top figure represents the total performance for these systems I have selected. Now the figure underneath is the anti-backfit period. Now from profit and loss to average odds, these show, because I've got all my systems on 3 months, the profit and loss and the figures for all of the systems I have selected on the right for the past 3 months. That's the way it works. And because I've got these figures set over here on 3 months for all the systems in operation that I've selected over here on the right, and this set on 3 months, this is an accurate representation right along the line. As you see over here, for example, if I was to run that system again, as you see over here for this individual system, I've got accurate figures for the past 3 months. For portfolio, for the combined systems running concurrently, these are accurate figures on the second line for overall, for back-in and lay-in, and I've set that over here to match. Now what this is doing on the portfolio page, if I was to set this to 12 for example, and it scans over 12, this is going to give me the max. The only thing it will change is the max drawdown. So this will give me the max drawdown figure over this period of time for the past 12 months, and this is drawing the data from the overall figures, not from here, not from the anti-backfit period figures that you have underneath. So you could set this for 24 months for example, and you'll see that the max drawdown is changing underneath for the anti-backfit range, but the overall profit and loss, that is not changing, is it? That's staying exactly the same. All these figures are staying the same because this information is being drawn from whatever you've set here for your anti-backfit. So the caveat here is that you need all of your systems over on research set to the exact same anti-backfit range, otherwise this information here will not make sense. It is basically unusable because it's going to be so jumbled with different anti-backfit ranges that it's just not going to make any sense with what you have set over here. So the final point to note here, the pro tip, is to change all of your systems to the same anti-backfit. Come over to portfolio, obviously save them, research and save them. Come over to portfolio, and when you add them in here, these figures here will represent, for whatever region you've set, 3, 6, 12 for your systems, they will represent that amount up to the average odds, and then you change this to match it. So that's exactly right now. So I've got figures here showing on my anti-backfit range for the past 3 months, and the profit and loss all the way to the drawdown represents that for the lay-in systems, for the back-end systems, and the all systems. So there's your pro tip. That's something that is quite easy to confuse. We understand that, but it has got a multi-purpose use having it this way. So it is better to run it this way. If I just click update again, my bot is now active and it'll place £1 stake per bet for the systems I have selected. So just to recap, you have all of your information for the systems that you have running concurrently that you've selected over here, and you've put a stake in. So this is the information that shows on the graph for the back in, the lay in, and overall, and it's at the top line, and that is the correct information for those systems for the back in, the lay in, and overall. For the line underneath that is the anti-backfit figures, and the only way that is useful is if you have all of the months set for exactly the same, because then you'll know that this figure represents, in my case, the past 3 months anti-backfit figures, and then you have this over here set to match it exactly the same, so you could look right across that line and know that 260 points profit was achieved for all systems with a 35 point max drawdown over that 3 month period, and then this information becomes very useful. If you were to change this to 12 or whatever figure, you can see that the max drawdown changes, but these figures don't change because these are totally based on whatever you have set anti-backfit for each of the individual systems. So if you had some systems set at 3, 6, 10, 12, this is not going to make any sense at all for you. You want to have the anti-backfit set for the same number for all of your systems. Sorry to drill that home, but just to make sure it's completely clear. So I have mine set for 3, my systems are on 3, it all makes sense. I look at my total profit and loss for all back in lay-in, and I can see the past 3 months figures there for that combination of systems that I have in operation. I'm happy with that. Useful data. No other software offers this type of feature to actually build a system and test it in this way, and then stack it and create a portfolio that gives you a financial outcome that you can then use to make an informed choice of what kind of systems you want in operation, with the right strike rate, the right kind of profit, and the right kind of risk that you're prepared to take with your max drawdown. So hopefully that makes sense and it's nice and clear for you now and you understand. Any questions, let me know. Drop a comment, email me. I'll always get back to you and answer any questions as quickly as I possibly can. Thanks for watching. Give us a subscribe, give us a like if you found it useful. It all helps the algorithm and push this information up, which we want to reach as many people as possible. So yeah, thanks again. Take care. Bye bye.